The name Illuminati, just saying it, it conjures up images, doesn't it?
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
shadowy figures, pulling strings, secret plots for global control,
Yeah.
hidden agendas.
Yep.
It's a word you hear whispered online or, sensationalized in movies. It's instantly recognized almost everywhere.
It really is remarkable how one name can gather such a dense layer of mystique and fear sometimes.
Yeah, fear
It's
too.
become one of maybe the most enduring conspiracy theories out there.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's unpack this for you today. We're doing a deep dive into the real Illuminati.
Right, the historical one.
Exactly. Not the Hollywood version, not the internet rabbit holes, but the actual 18th century secret society from Bavaria.
Hmm.
Our mission here is to strip away all that myth and get to the fascinating historical truth, and we're drawing directly from the sources you've shared with us.
We'll look at what they actually set out to do, who they really were, and trace the real story of how they rose and fell.
It's quite a journey.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it shows so clearly how historical facts can just morph into these huge fantastical legends.
So by the end of this, you'll walk away truly well-informed. You'll get the history, sure, but also why this particular group became such fertile ground for, well, centuries of conspiracy stuff.
Okay, so where do we start?
We have to start with the setting. Paint a picture of 18th century Bavaria.
Right, the context.
Imagine a society where religious institutions and the state had this huge, often intertwined grip on daily life, real control.
That's the world Adam Weishaupt steps into. He started as a professor, canon law, and practical philosophy, University of Ingolstadt, 1773.
And the key thing here, wasn't he the only non-clerical professor at a place basically run by Jesuits?
Pretty much. I mean, the Pope had officially dissolved the Jesuit order, but in Ingolstadt, they still held a lot of sway. Controlled university finances, the curriculum.
Sounds like a recipe for conflict. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesuits trying to block non-clerical staff, especially anyone leaning towards liberal ideas.
Oh, definitely. The friction was intense, and this constant battle against that entrenched power. It made Weishaupt deeply anti-clerical, profoundly so.
Okay.
He got convinced that the only way to effectively spread Enlightenment ideas, the Aufklärung, was secretly, through a society shielded from all that opposition he faced daily.
A clandestine network.
Exactly.
So he had this vision. He thought about joining the Freemasons first, right? But decided against it.
Yeah, he checked it out. But he found it, well, too expensive for one thing.
Huh. Practical concern.
And maybe more importantly, not quite open to his specific, pretty radical ideas for reform. He wanted something he could shape completely.
So he took matters into his own hands.
We did. May 1st, 1776. Founds his own society with just 4 students. That's it.
4 students. And the initial name was Bund der Perfectibilisten.
Covenant of Perfectibility. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Not really. Apparently it sounded too strained.
Yeah, so they rebranded. April 1778, it becomes the Illuminate Norden Order of Illuminati. Much better ring to it.
He apparently considered calling it the B Order, too. Almost a fun little footnote.
He did. Imagine the conspiracy theories about bees. Anyway, they went with Illuminati. Owl of Minerva as their symbol. Wisdom, hidden knowledge, makes sense.
And secrecy was key. Aliases. Weishaupt was Spartacus.
Right, and the first students were Ajax, Agathon, Tiberius, and Erasmus Rhododamus. Though poor Erasmus got kicked out later for indolence, laziness, basically.
Even secret societies have HR problems. So what were their stated goals, the official line?
Actually, pretty progressive for the time. Oppose superstition, obscurantism, deliberate ambiguity, religious influence in public life, abuses of state power.
Sounds reasonable.
Their order of the day, written right in their statutes, was, and I'm quoting loosely here, put an end to the machinations of the purveyors of injustice, control them without dominating them.
Control without dominating. Interesting nuance.
Yeah. Early on, the structure was simple. 3 grades: novice, Minerval, illuminated Minerval. The Minerval one apparently had a pretty complex ceremony.
And they spied on each other. A system of mutual espionage.
Well, yeah. Sort of monitoring each other's activities, character, ensuring loyalty, making sure everyone stayed true to the ideals.
And recruitment. They were picky.
Very. Favored candidates. Rich, docile meaning compliant, willing to learn, and aged 18 to 30.
And specific exclusions, too, right? Who wasn't welcome.
Right. Explicitly excluded. Jews, pagans, women, monks, and members of other secret societies. Shows they wanted a very specific mold, and maybe were wary of infiltration themselves.
Makes sense.
Initial growth came mainly through Massenhaus, one of the first students. He recruited a key figure, Xavier von Zwack. by late 78, maybe 27 members, across 5 regional commands.
With cool code names like Munich being Athens and Ingolstadt Eleusis.
Exactly.
Well,
Still small, but organized.
okay, so they start their own society because Freemasonry wasn't quite right. But then there's a shift. They seem to see Masonry as a tool.
A very pragmatic shift, yeah. Almost like if you can't beat them, infiltrate them. Weishaupt realized building a whole network from scratch was slow going.
So he joins the Masons himself.
Yep, 1777, Lodge Prudence. His stated goal, internally at least, was to learn their rituals, see how they worked, and basically use that knowledge to boost his own order.
Clever. Maybe a bit sneaky.
Definitely strategic.
Mm.
And it worked, didn't it?
Seems like it. They got a warrant from the Grand Lodge of Prussia to start their own lodge in Munich. Theodore of the Good Counsel. March 1779.
And that lodge was, quote, quickly packed with Illuminati. By July, Weishaupt's order was essentially running it.
Wow.
Their next move was independence. They linked up with a lodge in Frankfurt, got Lodge Theodore recognized on its own. And crucially, that meant Lodge Theodore could now create its own daughter lodges.
Okay, that's a huge step. From a local group to potentially a whole network.
Monumental. It really changed the game for them.
And speaking of changing the game, this brings us to a really key figure. Adolf Freiherr Nigg, recruited late 1780.
Yes.
He was already a big deal in Freemasonry, had his own reform ideas. What made him such a game changer for the Illuminati?
Nigg brought what Weishaupt didn't really have. A huge Masonic network, practical smarts, charisma. Weishaupt was more the academic theorist. Nigg knew how to scale things, how to recruit beyond just students.
Turn it from an intellectual circle into something bigger.
Exactly. Broader appeal, wider reach.
Now get this. Nigg was drawn in partly by promises of deep secrets, right? But Weishaupt, being Weishaupt,
Alvbach claimed there were these mysterious, most serene superiors pulling the strings.
right, and told Nigg he had to recruit more people before getting access to the higher grades.
Classic Weishaupt. Then, January 1781, the big reveal.
The aha moment. Weishaupt admits the superiors, the ancient origins, all fake, higher degrees, not even written yet.
And Nigg was apparently surprisingly calm.
Why wasn't he furious? Or did he just see an opportunity?
I think the latter. It speaks volumes about Nigg. Instead of feeling tricked, he probably saw, okay, there are no fake bosses, and I get a free hand to create the very degrees I wanted.
So he could shape it his way?
Precisely.
Mhm.
Make it much more attractive to the influential Masons he wanted to bring in.
But there were internal problems brewing. Weishaupt, seen as stubborn, dictatorial by the ruling council, the Areopagus.
Yeah, tensions were rising. Interestingly, Nigg often played peacemaker between Weishaupt and the council.
What were the main issues Nigg saw?
2 big ones. First, too many young, inexperienced students in top spots. Not great for leadership.
Right.
Second, and maybe more critical for growth, the strong anti-religious vibe. Nigg knew that would put off a lot of the senior Masons he needed, especially in Protestant areas.
So the plan to spread through Masonry was stalling a bit, because some other Masonic chapter had seniority over their Lodge Theodore.
Exactly, a roadblock. And that's when Nigg rolls out his new system of grades, January 1782.
Ah, the structured approach.
Very strategic. 3 classes, designed to integrate with Masonic structures, make it easy to absorb whole lodges. Class 1, the nursery, Novitiate Minerval Illuminatus Minor, basic entry levels.
Then, Class 2, the crucial bit, the Masonic grades, pulling in the standard apprentice, companion, master.
Yep, the Blue Lodge degrees, plus the Scottish Novice and Scottish Knight, makes it familiar, respectable to existing Masons.
And finally, Class 3, the mysteries. Lesser mysteries, priest, prince, greater mysteries, mage, king.
Though it's pretty likely those top 2, Mage and King, the rituals were never actually written. More of a, ultimate goal on paper.
But Nigg's strategy worked for recruitment, targeting lodge leaders.
Like gangbusters. Entire lodges started joining. Rapid expansion across central and southern Germany, even into Austria.
The number jumped from a handful to maybe 300 by spring 82, and mostly not students anymore.
Right. Only of the 20 were students. In Munich, they got complete control of Lodge Theodore, cut ties with the Grand Lodge. Big win for independence, proof Nigg's system was working.
Okay, summer 1782, the convent of Wilhelmsbad. Sounds important. It was a big meeting for the strict observance Masons who were kind of fading.
Exactly. Declining power. And the Illuminati saw a golden opportunity. Ditfurth represented them, prompted by Nig, aiming to scoop up Masons who weren't keen on all the mysticism floating around.
Did the convent achieve much itself?
Not really. Sort of fizzled. They officially dropped the Templar connection but kept the fancy titles, oddly. Made the Scottish grade optional. But the key thing for the Illuminati, lodges were now allowed to connect with other systems.
Weakening strict observance.
Right. Open the door wider.
And after Wilhelmsbad, strict observance basically collapses, right? Letting big names like Bode and Prince Charles of Hesse join the Illuminati in early '83.
Yes, major figures came aboard. Weishaupt even proposed this new federation of German Grand Lodges. Focus on the basic 3 degrees, let lodges do their own thing higher up, clearly a vehicle for spreading Illuminism.
But they shot themselves in the foot a bit. They're circular attacking other Masonic groups.
Yeah, that was clumsy. Accusing Royal York of Jesuit influence. Strict observance of being a Stuart plot. It alienated people.
And the irony. Someone else set up a similar non-mystical group, the Eclectic Alliance.
And the Illuminati ended up joining it. Kind of undermined their own grand plan for dominating German Masonry.
So, okay, mass recruitment via Masonry hit snags, but individual recruitment was still beaming, especially in Bavaria.
Yes, Bavaria was fertile ground. Partly a backlash against the ruler, Charles Theodore, who was rolling back liberal reforms. People were unhappy, looking for alternatives.
The order peaks around late '84. Numbers are fuzzy, maybe 650 verified, claims up to 2,500. Realistically, maybe 1,300.
Somewhere in that ballpark seems likely. But the quality of recruits is what's really striking.
Right, not just students. Professionals, powerful people. Who are we talking about?
Really influential names. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the writer. Johann Gottfried Herder, philosopher. Duke Ferdinand of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel. Karl August, Grand Duke of Saxe-Weimar-Eisenach. High-ranking Austrian officials like Count Brigido, Baron von Swieten. These are major players.
Serious clout. But not everyone was convinced. Some notable rejections.
Oh, yeah. Johann Caspar Lavater, the Swiss poet, apparently questioned using secret means for good ends. Didn't sit right with him.
And Christoph Friedrich Nicolai, the writer.
Found their goals chimeric, unrealistic, and thought their methods were too much like the Jesuits they claimed to oppose. Dangerous.
Interesting pushback. What does that tell us?
Highlights that core tension, right? Progressive goals versus secretive, maybe manipulative methods. For some, the secrecy itself was a red flag, or the methods just didn't justify the ends. Not everyone bought into it.
Then there was the external threat, the Rosicrucians, a rival Masonic group.
Big-time rivals. Pro-monarchy, into mysticism the opposite of the Illuminati's rationalism. Weishaupt tried hard to keep his orders secret from them.
But a clash was inevitable.
Seemed that way. The Prussian Rosicrucians, led by Johann Christoph von Wollner, went on the offensive, accused the Illuminati of atheism, trying to start revolutions.
Serious charges.
Their main lodge, the Three Globes, denounced the Illuminati publicly, called them a sect trying to undermine Christianity, politicized Freemasonry.
And they got inside information.
Yep, an Illuminati informant, Ferdinand Maria Bader, spilled the beans about Lodge Theodore being totally run by Illuminati, exposed them.
Ouch. And internally, things weren't great either. The bickering started up again, Weishaupt versus the Areopagites.
Yeah, Weishaupt seemed to be reverting to his more controlling ways, even apparently slandering people he saw as rivals within the order.
Which leads to this almost unbelievable move. Weishaupt drives out Nig, his best recruiter, organizer, theorist. Why?
It looks like pure power struggle. Weishaupt wanted control back. They clashed over strategy, Weishaupt's hardcore anti-clericalism versus Nig wanting to be more accommodating to recruit powerful Masons. The final straw was apparently a ritual Weishaupt wrote for the priest grade.
What was wrong with it?
Nig thought it was florid and ill-conceived, basically embarrassing and counterproductive. This led to Nig leaving in July 1784.
So what did losing Nig mean, big picture?
Catastrophic. Weishaupt, in forcing him out, basically deprived the order of its best theoretician, recruiter, and apologist. Nig knew how to sell the order, structure it, grow it. Losing him was a massive blow, crippled their ability to expand effectively.
And the final nail in the coffin wasn't just external attacks or internal fights. It was their own members being indiscreet.
Pretty much. The Bavarian Minerval's lower-level members got sloppy, loose talk, boasting about political influence, criticizing the monarchy. The secret order wasn't so secret anymore. Names got out.
And they started getting blamed for things. Anti-religious pamphlets, favoritism.
Exactly. Public alarm grew. The government, under Charles Theodore, saw them as a real threat.
So March 2nd, 1785.
The hammer falls. Charles Theodore bans all secret societies, including the Illuminati. That was the death blow to the Illuminati in Bavaria.
Weishaupt fled.
Yeah. Then the government seized documents in 86 and 87, published them, which, ironically, gave the Illuminati a whole new level of notoriety, even after they were gone.
So the actual historical Illuminati, done, suppressed, finished in Bavaria.
Correct. Operations ceased.
But this is where the story gets weird, where the myth machine kicks into high gear.
Right. Fast forward about 10 years. 1797, 1798. Two books become massive bestsellers. Augustin Barruel's memoirs illustrating the history of Jacobinism.
And John Robison's proofs of a conspiracy.
And these books weren't just saying the Illuminati existed, they were saying they survived and were now an ongoing international conspiracy.
Responsible for the French Revolution.
That was the huge claim. Barruel, who was a Jesuit, pushed this theory, borrowing some ideas from Robison, apparently, that Jews, Freemasons, and the Illuminati were all working together.
To do what?
Demolish monarchies, destroy the Vatican, set up a world republic. It's worth noting Barruel initially focused heavily on Jews as the masterminds, but later backed off republishing that part, reportedly fearing it could incite violence.
Wow. And this idea travels.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Crosses the Atlantic, lands in the United States. Influential figures like Reverend Jedediah Morse, Timothy Dwight start preaching against the Illuminati.
Linking them to the 1800 U.S. election. That sounds familiar.
Generating real panic, suspicion. It was a whole thing.
So much so, it even shows up in early American Gothic novels, like Ormond or Julia and the Illuminated Baron.
Yep. Direct references to the supposed Illuminati crisis. It shows you, our listener, how fast an idea, even one mostly invented, can just permeate culture, public fear.
The panic died down after the early 1800s.
It did, but the idea resurfaced later, like during the anti-Masonic movement in the 1820s and 30s. The seed was planted.
So what's the legacy then? What's left today? You mentioned modern groups using the name.
Right. There are several fraternal orders around now, or recently, that openly claim they descend from the Bavarian Illuminati. They use the name.
But, and this is the key point for you listening, there's no evidence of any real connection.
Zero verifiable link to the 18th century group. And these modern groups, they haven't exactly amassed huge political power.
It's almost funny, isn't it? Instead of being super secret, many of them actively promote these supposed links to the original Illuminati.
It's like a branding strategy. Use the mystique to attract members.
So the original group did not survive.
Absolutely not. The stuff Barruel and Robison wrote about their later mischief and plottings, considered pure invention by historians.
Yet the modern conspiracy theories persist. The idea that world elites are being controlled and manipulated by a secret society calling itself the Illuminati.
It's incredibly persistent. They get blamed for everything: French Revolution, that 1800 U.S. election, even JFK's assassination, all baseless claims linking back to this imagined ongoing group.
And people point to symbols, right, like the Eye of Providence on the U.S. dollar bill.
Constantly. Used as proof of an Illuminati link to the Founding Fathers, even though that symbol was used long before Weishaupt even started his little group.
So let's wrap this up. What does the whole saga of the Illuminati really tell us?
I think it's just this powerful example, isn't it? How a real, fairly small, short-lived historical group
can become the seed for these huge, sprawling, incredibly tenacious global conspiracy theories.
Exactly. Theories that completely overshadow the actual history and just keep going generation after generation. It really shows that gap between historical fact and popular myth.
So we've done our deep dive. We saw the real Illuminati start with these Enlightenment goals, maybe noble, definitely ambitious.
Watch them grow, change, get tangled in internal fights and external opposition.
And ultimately get shut down in Bavaria. But then the legend takes over. Becomes one of the most pervasive conspiracy theories ever. Still shaping culture, still influencing how some people see the world.
Which leaves us with a thought for you, the listener. If this relatively small, brief 18th century society could spark myths this huge, myths that last for centuries.
What does that say about us? About maybe a human need to find hidden patterns, secret hands pulling the strings behind complex world events?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other little historical footnotes might have secretly grown into the legends we live with today?